Okay, so these are labs where you need to be a certain place at a certain time, and so I've called them scheduled labs. So I'm going to talk you through them. Remember, these documents are available to you in a number of different places from the website. So first off, let me kind of point down to those dates, those ever important dates down here. October 17th, need to have 2 labs. The last 2 labs you need to have November 21st. So 2 plus 2 is 4. You need to have 4 labs to complete the lab requirement for this course. All right, so the scheduled labs fall into kind of 2 different categories. One type of scheduled lab is something that I host. And the thing about these labs that are scheduled is that for my scheduled labs that I host, I need to be able to communicate with you if the weather is bad. Okay, if the weather, not like scary bad, I can't travel, but simply if it's just even too cloudy to see anything. So what I've done I have 5 labs that I host, and I have 2 dates. So let's see, this kind of describes what my 2 dates are. I have a primary date and a secondary date. Okay, so my primary date is the date I'm trying for, okay, and my secondary date only goes if the primary date is canceled. Okay, so there's 2 dates for each of these 5 labs that I host. And the way I let you know if a primary lab is canceled is by leaving a message on my outgoing message. Okay, I say the lab is canceled, and like that. Okay, so let's take a look at the labs that I'm hosting, and then I'll tell you about another couple of other schedules. Okay, so notice that these first 2 actually I am hosting these first 2 labs at the Whitty Observatory Complex. Now I've got a document that shows you how to get there, but basically the observatory, if you haven't been there before, I hope you make it out there, whether it's this semester or some other time, but it is basically north of Burlington. If you get to Mediapolis, you've gone too far, okay? So what I'm going to do, and these are kind of the later labs. The other labs are earlier than this, but I'm going to have 2 morning labs, and the reason I want to have these morning labs is that you see different things in the sky in the morning than you do in the early evening. So notice that I'm shooting for October 21st, 5:30 in the morning, and then if that one falls through, my secondary date is October 28th, the 1 week later, at the same time. Oh, and they'll last maybe half an hour and an hour. Okay, so it's just great. I'm also going to, at the same location, host on Wednesdays a labs beginning at 6:30, and just it'll last again about an hour. So these are things I encourage you to make it out to the observatory at some point, but you don't have to. Remember, all of these labs, these scheduled labs I'm showing you, remember you have the option of getting your 4 labs by you doing those at-large labs. So these other 3 labs that I'm hosting are actually at the Keokuk campus, and I'm going to show you a map where that is basically, but there's only one main parking lot at Keokuk campus, and it's east of the main parking lot. So notice that I picked a time when the moon wasn't out to kind of look at some constellations and what we call deep sky objects. And my primary date is pretty early, August 28th at 9, and my secondary date, if the primary falls through, is September 25th. Let me know if that's kind of confusing about the primary and secondary dates. I do explain that if my secondary date is clouded out as well, I am going to go ahead and meet that time at that location, and we'll do something for lab credit. So, and then I picked a time when the moon was kind of early on in its phase, hopefully what we call a waxing crescent, or before first quarter, and to take a look at the moon. And so I'm shooting first for September 4th, and if that falls through, October 2nd. Again at 9 p.m. These are Thursdays at the Keokuk campus. And then during the day, about 11:30 in the morning, I am going to go ahead and get out the telescopes, and we're going to look at the sun. So that's all good. We've got it's new to me anyway, a new telescope that will look at the sun using an alpha hydrogen filter. So it's kind of nice. We'll see. So the other two broadly types of scheduled labs are the ones, again, at the observatory. With the Woody Observatory, the same place I'm going to host labs, actually twice a month. They're on Fridays, the first and third Friday of every month. We open the doors. I say we because it's the volunteers of the astronomy club open up the doors and will allow the public to come in, and we just kind of have a good old time there. So you are definitely welcome, ongoing, even, this semester or otherwise, the first and third Friday of every month to come out to the observatory. While I'm thinking of it, now this, in general, all of the labs, whether they're scheduled labs or labs you're doing on your own, I really encourage you to get others involved. Bring your kids out to the observatory, or bring them to the sessions at the Kika campus. That would be just great. Anything I host, your family is welcome. So keep that in mind. So the last one is pretty darn cool too. I'm really kind of leaning towards going to this September 13th opportunity. So Cedar Rapids, I know it seems like a long ways away. Actually, it's a little bit before you get to Cedar Rapids off of 218. But there is the Cedar Rapids Astronomy Club has an observatory, and it's great. They have a great program too. So actually, you can see, I've looked on their website, and you see the dates that their observatory is open, and they have a presentation with viewing to follow. So the September 13th one is very exciting. If you're familiar with, you've heard of Voyagers, the two Voyagers that's leaving the influence of our sun, going between stars, that sort of thing. Dr. Garnett will be speaking, and he's been directly involved with that mission. So that's that. Maybe I'll see you on September 13th.